you say you are connected with the residents of Northampton. We have Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but what about Who Wants to Be a Member of Parliament? We have got a series of questions on Northampton to test your knowledge, Councillor Paul Clark.
Right, under pressure.
Yeah, indeed. Unfortunately, you have no phone a friend. You can't go 50-50. This is all based on you to see how competent you are knowing your town. They get progressively harder, but hopefully you should breeze this based on what you've said to me. So, question 1. I've got 4 names of schools. One of them is genuine in Northampton. The other 3 are fake. So if I'm going to give you each of them, you just tell me which one you think the real one is. The first one, A, Northern Gravel. B, Eastern Lovell. C, Southern Hovel. Or D, Western Favel.
Well, it's Western Favel. And I do know the Eastern one. Yeah.
Question 2, this is probably a bit of an easy slam dunk one. What manufacturing industry is Northampton famous for? Is it A, cars, B, hats, C, mobile phones, or D, shoes?
Well, it's shoes, but there's also another industry.
Okay, educate me. What's the other industry?
So is lace. We're famous for lace as well.
Are we?
So,
okay.
And also with the shoes, and part of the college, we have the college, or people would come here from all around the world, is leather. So we had a lot of leather works, and obviously the tanning, Spencer Leather was all tanning and that. So we were famous for lace, famous for shoes, but also we've had people travelling from all over the world to come and learn about leather in Northampton, because we produced our own leather to
do the shoes.
Yeah. So.
Well, following on from that, again, these might seem a little bit too easy, but if you're not local, you wouldn't know this. Which sports team derives their name from the answer to the last question?
C. O. W. L-E-R-S. Gobblers.
You know
so
the
Northampton
Gobblers.
Town. Yeah.
Again, leading on from that, question 4. In 2023, there was a drama series called Changing Ends, and it was set in Northampton that followed the manager of the football club. Do you know the manager and his name? Say that again. Do you know the name of the manager of the football club, what the name of his famous son is, and what his son is famous for?
Right, start at the top. Graham Carr won Division 4, I believe.
Yeah.
When there was four divisions with Northampton Town. Graham Carr is his son, and he's a camp comedian.
Do you know his name? Can you remember? Obviously, it's Carr.
Alan Carr.
Alan Carr.
Yeah.
Correct.
Sorry.
And kind of moving on from comedy, question 5. Northampton was one of the filming locations for a famous sitcom in the 90s. What was the name, I'll take first, last or both, of the lead eccentric female character of this 1990s sitcom set in Northampton, or rather filmed in Northampton?
Hyacinth Bucket or Bouquet.
Yeah. That is absolutely correct. Yes.
I'm trying to think of was it Waldo or something? The son, the brother-in-law that had the string vest. I can't remember his name. He used to be Eddie Yates. Onslow. That's it. Yeah.
Now, speaking of areas and parks, question 6. Which of these is not a genuine road in Northampton? We have A, Broad Street, B, Broadway, east or west, C, Broadwater Drive, D, Broadmead Avenue. So the question is, which of these is not a genuine road in Northampton?
That would be Broadwater Drive. It's actually Bridgewater Drive.
Well done, you know.
Broads, yeah, so Abington Vale, I believe, and the others are in Abington.
Yeah, so all of these Broads, they all sound similar, but this is where the question earlier, we were talking about your local knowledge, you can immediately pick out. So if a tabloid was to come up to you and do an interview about Broadwater Drive, you'd immediately know, I don't think that's right, it's Bridgewater Drive. Just where that local knowledge comes in. Now, I think we've already mentioned it. You've said it a few times before. With question 7, Jimmy's End is slang for which Northampton housing district and area?
St James. My dad lived in Wimbledon Street.
So obviously everyone knows. They know it as Jimmy's End.
Yeah.
But when you ask someone, if again, you're not local, you mention Jimmy's End.
Yeah,
I
live in Symington Street as well. Yeah. So.
I say it's famous, it's more infamous. Which infamous or famous disaster struck Northampton during the Easter of 1998, impacting many of the residents in Far Cotton?
That would be the floods, I believe. I didn't realise it was 1998. I can remember it. So that
long ago now.
Yeah.
So this wasn't on social media, but people show pictures of it. And you see the whole street. But again, your average
somebody
person,
died there as well.
in the boat going over the bridge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
Again, this is all the local knowledge where you know the areas. So when someone says, "I've got a concern about flood defences," you know what's happened. You've been there. So far, you're doing really well on this. Question 9. You're going out to do your weekly shop and you're given a choice of either going to Western Fayville or Mearway to do it. Which large supermarket chain would you be visiting at either one of those locations?
Right. As a prospective MP, I don't like plugging businesses.
Okay.
But it's Tesco's. But that's only for the reasons of answering the question. It's not to say that Morrison's, Asda, Aldi, to name a few, that they're not
yeah, there's no sponsorship behind these questions.
Absolutely. Yeah. So.
It's more, again, the local knowledge where you know immediately when people
Tesco's,
talk about it, what's up at Tesco, at Mearway, it's Tesco's.
I should know what supermarket, watching the building get built. Western Fayville, Tesco's,
Now, question 10, talking about things getting built. This is something that came down the other way. There was a famous ugly landmark in the centre of Northampton, once dubbed the Mouth of Hell. It was demolished nearly a decade ago. Do you know what the name of the building was and what it was used for?
Greyfriars.
Correct.
And it was Greyfriars bus station.
Was indeed. Now again, it's just rubble. You remember that's what it looks like now, but you can remember how it used to look driving up, and it used to dominate the landscape, just this big, ugly, brutalist building, which if you've not been in Northampton for 10 years, it might be difficult to envisage that being there.
It's with the it was a concrete structure. I thought it was all right. I thought
it functioned.
It
stunk
of urine.
Yeah.
Stunk of urine, but if things like that are happening, if it happened in my time, I would have put things in place to prevent that happening. It's a simple thing. So unless I don't know what the structure, whether it was safe or not, I don't know why those reasons why they took that down, but whether we could have upgraded it to make it look better. But I thought it was all right. I liked it. I liked the way it worked. So
compared to what we've got now.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Which again, the bus station, I think the stories of that have died down. But I remember when the new one was built, it was a talking point in the media for quite some time. Going on about, again, buildings being built and the town expanding. So before Sixfield Cinema opened in the 90s, and then later the one in Seoul Central, do you remember where the original cinema in Northampton would be located? And a bonus point if you remember the name of it.
Well, it'll be, I'm sure it used to have Deco and ABC, so it's the ABC Cinema. But there was a name, because I can remember people saying they used to go dancing there. Oh, God.
I'll happily accept ABC as the first one, but if you know the other name, even better.
Oh, what's it called? It's got it's a weird old name. Oh, that's going to bug me now if I don't get that. I do know it.
So if you know the name, do you know where it was located?
It was on the edge of the Mounts and Wellingborough Road. So now we've still got a section of it still left, the Deco. So we go there, we have boxes.
The one I remember it as, this might be a different name to what you're thinking, but I still remember this just because of my age. It had gone from the ABC cinema. It was the Cannon Cinema when I used to go there.
Oh, right, and that was the Cannon Club. But no, it had a name before that.
Right, okay.
It did have a name before that.
I'm of too young a vintage to know that, unfortunately.
But as I say, it was the first cinema in Northampton, and it was something Deco. That's who it was. And its first name was always the Deco ABC cinema. So and the Cannon was the Cannon Club that we used to go on Saturday. So yeah.
Speaking of the other cinema we've now got in Northampton in Seoul Central, do you know what famous business and their offices used to occupy that site and were knocked down around 2000 to make way for Seoul Central?
Yeah, Barclays Clearing.
Yeah, everyone remembers that. They used to say you'd walk past there, it was the old head office or building they'd work at before they moved to Brackmills.
Well, I worked on a club opposite there, Woody's Club. I worked as a doorman, so yeah, I see it get demolished and see what was built.
Again, I keep touching back on this, but it's all these little vignettes of knowledge that you know, where you can say, I know the history of that building, what it used to be before. Whereas if someone has just been parachuted in, it's often difficult to say, I can see that building's there, but I don't know any more than what I see. Now, could be a bit of a difficult one for you. Gordon Scott Shoe Shop, and we're talking it's just at the bottom end of Abington Street, they used to have a stuffed animal in their window called Charlie. Do you know what animal was Charlie?
Yeah, and I know where it is now.
Ah, okay.
It was a chimp.
Charlie the chimp, yeah.
Charlie chimp, yeah, that's it. And I can remember as a kid when I lived in Brunswick Place, we used to go along, we used to see it.
Yeah.
So it was on Abington Street.
You'd always see it just
flip
over.
Yeah, and there's another one with it now, they brought one. It was one on a push bike.
Right.
And I believe, I've not been in the museum, but I have had an invite, but I'm yet to get there. It's in the museum that we've got in the town centre now.
Yeah, I think it's Archie the Ape. I think that's the relative one that's in there. And watch this.
And then put all your dirty hands on there and watch them come out and moan.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Get away from
But
the
it
window.
would get people. You remember that lovely long corridor he had with all his products in there?
Yeah, no.
Kids would want to look
It
at
was
them.
all right. It was nice.
Now, the statue in Abington Street, not far from where Gordon Scott was, it's moved. Since they did the repedestrianisation, used to be outside Primark, has now moved further down, and it represents Francis Crick, who's a famous resident of Northampton. He discovered something that changed the scientific world. Do you know what it was that he discovered?
Yeah, and I know when he died as well. 20 years ago today.
20 years ago today, was it?
20 years ago, 2004 he died.
Wow.
There's a statue with others as well in by the Guildhall. There's a square there. He's got egg and mobs. He's got I can't remember how many. But yeah, he and another guy, I believe was in Cambridge, discovered DNA.
Yeah.
DNA. The other guy, what's his name now? It was James Watson, I think, was the other guy. He wasn't a Northamptonian. But yeah, James Watson. Him and James Watson discovered DNA. So.
Now this one's a little bit of a historic one. It's slightly before your time. We've got the Archbishop of Canterbury engaged in conflict with Henry II over the rights of the church from 1162, so a few years ago.
Without you saying any more, I know that is.
Okay, I'll finish and I'll see you'll probably beat me to the punch here, but he's famous in Northampton having a park, a pub and a school all named after him. What is the name of this famous historical figure?
Thomas Becket.
That's correct, yes.
So we've got the Thomas Becket pub.
Yeah.
Thomas Becket School.
Yeah.
And Beckett's Park.
Beckett's Park, yeah, with the well at the top that he's famed to have apparently drunk from.
Yeah.
Final question, I mean, to get full house on this, Northampton folk have their own little quirks and sayings. What feathered animal might a resident of Northampton
Right, me
refer
duck.
to as?
Right, me duck.
Yeah, you know that even before I finish. So yeah, I think you solidly pass being someone that is very knowledgeable on your town that you are standing for, being an MP. And as you've said, you are standing effectively to be the voice of people. You connect with them. You know your town.
I just want to say to you, I'm very passionate. If you've met me on the doorstep, you know how passionate I am. I'm a Northamptonian. I'm proud of my town. I know when it was great. I want to make it great again. I say to you, lend me your vote for 5 years. I've proved locally what I can do as an independent. As I say, I know what's wrong. I have a good idea of how to put that right. And as I say, politicians don't care. They're career politicians. I'm most definitely not a career politician. I care. So on Independence Day, the 4th of July, Northampton have your very own Independence Day. Vote for Paul Clark on Independence Day